On Facebook.
Yay! Hello.
Yay! Hey. So, I welcome everybody for Feck's Marketing Adventures with Carmel, and for today with the amazing Yolanda.
Yay!
It's exciting. So if you are actually watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you press the subscribe button. It's fairly new to get these things on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, hop over to YouTube as well, because there's lots more other
Hit
tips.
subscribe, guys.
Yeah, and that little bell ring. They do. It's all new. Cool. So for Feck's Marketing is all about bringing you tips, tricks, insights, and some amazing people that can share some of their journey and insights with you to show you how you can grow your business too. So first and foremost, Yolanda and I have known each other about 2 years now. Is it
2 years
now?
That's right.
Yeah. We met in a training room doing some crazy dancing and things like that too. And going, oh my God, what are we doing? And is business working? And it's not. And learning to put even more bums on seats. So I know since then, and even before then, you were growing your business. So empowered parents is Yolanda's business, but I'm going to let you tell us who is Yolanda and how did she come to be where she is in this business right now? Big question, I know.
I know. I almost felt tears come up, Carmel, as you asked me that. Who is Yolanda and how did she come? There was a lot of tears on that journey, Carmel. Yeah. Oof, what have you done to me, Carmel?
That's the first question. Look at that.
Well, as I say with the journey, it's the challenges that we go through, and it's our attitude to them that bring us to where we are.
Yeah.
I could have easily been somewhere in a state of mind of being a victim and possibly been in some battered wives, shelter somewhere. But I chose a different path. I chose for my challenges to teach me a new way of being, taking responsibility of how I show up. I'm a mom of 2 girls, Carmel. I'm a single mom of 2 girls, a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old. And I had this sudden, almost like a sudden knowing that, oh my gosh, they chose me to be the perfect mom for them on their journey.
Yeah.
And it's when I had that drop in, I just had a knowing that, okay, now how am I stepping up? What do I need to do? This old self of mine is not who I want them. It's not going to be their story. I was able to see patterns of how my mom made choices, my grandma made choices, and the choices they made that came from accepting that this was their lot and that this is how life was going to be for them, and they had no choice. And I said, for fuck's sake.
Now, Feck, you can say.
That is not going to be a choice I make. We all have choices. We've always had choices. My mom just didn't know that. My grandma didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I know that. And my girls are not going to be following. Like, I chose to break that generational pattern of being that submissive woman who felt that the man would dictate her fate.
Yes.
And I just chose that wouldn't be. And of course, my ex didn't approve of that way of being. And I said to him, thank you very much for giving me these realizations. And for fuck's sake, let's all be happy and go our own way. So I can honestly say, yes, it's been challenging. And from going from a family of 4 who were miserable, we are now definitely a family of 3, me and my girls, who are freaking never been happier, have the best connection, best relationships through the ups and downs. Our connection is so strong. We are invincible. And my ex is happy too. We have a brilliant relationship together, and I'm in a new relationship, and life couldn't be better. I've got a booming business. I've got I'm ticking the boxes, Carmel. Somebody asked me, where would you be in 10 years? I said, I can't think of being anywhere else. I'm where I want to be.
Beautiful, beautiful. And look, it would have been a hard decision, I would imagine, for you. Like we all know, and sometimes culturally, it can be very heavily based in, because I know coming from Ireland, we were always, my dad used to say, well, you've made your bed, now you can lie on it. It's like,
isn't it?
And you know, and there's a cultural shame and fear about
Absolutely.
making those. So yeah, to make those moves. So there obviously was some aha moment to make you shift in that. And what is it they say? When the pain has become too much, we finally go and we go, why didn't I do that years ago? What the hell?
That's right.
But what I'd really love to ask you is, when you decided, when you made that decision, and it's in the decision that it is made, one of the things that I've been kind of hearing, and I know my mentor talks about it, and I believe it to be true too, is that you then start to behave as if. When you behave it into existence, so you start behaving like you have choices, you start behaving it, it makes a huge difference. Would you agree with that?
I'd completely agree with that. I'd also want to add that the choices that we make are very much dependent on the knowledge that we have. So I found myself looking back and said, why did I make those choices then? But then it's important that we have compassion on ourselves, that we did what we knew was best at the time.
Yes.
And it is our responsibility to increase our knowledge, to put ourselves out there, to watch the YouTube videos, to subscribe to channels like yours, meet the people, get different perspectives. That is our responsibility. And then make a choice of which way we will go. But back in the day, like my parents didn't have as much exposure to knowledge as we do today. So we really have no excuse.
I know, but it's sometimes it's like growing a very successful business, for example. Technically, we could go online and actually find all the steps, but people still don't do it. So we still have to find people to guide and help us.
Absolutely.
Because by nature, we're kind of designed, we have an unadmitted desire to be led. We actually want to be led. That's part of human nature. We want somebody to lead us. So I know you're going to give us some great tips on how to emotionally connect with your child, but I really love to get to know the person behind the business. So tell me, now that you are where you are, what is success to you?
Success to me is 6 components of my life.
Oh, okay.
My health, my emotions, how well I manage my emotions, how aware I am of them is a big component of success. Finances is, but it's only one of 6. Relationships, being giving and receiving love, intimate relationships, plus relationships with my kids and extended family and the people in my circle. Spirituality, so my connection to my higher self is a part of success, and career. So what I do which is my passion as well. So all 6 of them equally form my definition of success. One cannot be without the other. So I have a system where I constantly check in with myself. Where am I at? How is this going? How important is this? Like, I was holding myself back from finding a new relationship because I said, I need to grow this business. I need to do this. And I realized, no, I'm going to come to, 5 years down the track and have not fulfilled that. It is important. It is all important. And making each of those, yes, I have got to let go in some areas, and that's fine, because that's what creates the whole. And I'm so glad I did that, Carmel. I'm really glad that I did that.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds like a great exercise or a check-in point that you have.
Check-in point,
Yeah, and that's really, really important. So tell me that we all make mistakes along the way. we've always. So what are some of, well, give us the biggest, the number one biggest mistake that you feel you've made in business along the way? And just in a way of giving insights to others, because people fail, if that's the word they want to put on it, and they stuff up and they think it's the end of the world, and they don't realize these overnight successful people that they look at have done the same and really stuffed up a lot. So what would
That's
your
right.
biggest mistake
So
be?
straight up, when you use the word mistake, I just don't even resonate with that
Yes.
word today.
Yeah.
It's like there are no mistakes.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
only
yeah.
learning stepping stone. But I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So to answer your question without the reference to mistake, I guess what I would say is what I would have done differently would be to. It's really hard because there's nothing I'd do differently as I look back. I wanted to say that I would have chosen this path earlier, but I couldn't have.
Yes.
I couldn't have. You know, I am in my mid 40s, so I could have been doing this for more time in my life, but no, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It is, so
that's
how
okay.
do I answer your question? Sorry,
well, you
Carmel.
don't. That's absolutely okay. That's fine. So one last question before we go into your top 3 tips of how to emotionally connect with your child, and even more than that, the importance of it. Can you share with us, or are you willing to share with us, some of your success habits? So you talked about that check-in point.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are, like, some people, go walking, some meditate. I kind of flip-flop from one to the other sometimes. I know what I should do, but what are your success habits that are non-negotiables now?
So for me, so I run emotional mastery. So I'm big on emotions. So my success habit is checking in with myself, staying in tune. I validate my emotions, and I know that I can easily keep myself busy and not go there. And a lot of people I know do that.
Yes.
So my biggest success tip is to tune in. Yeah. Tune into yourself when you are relating to your kids and your family. Tune into yourself when you're making a business decision. Tune into yourself when you're speaking to clients. Tune in, see where you're at, because the person in front of you is responding to your emotion, which is nothing but energy in motion.
Yes, absolutely.
So
how do you
tune
check
with your
in?
energy?
How do you, so, I'm with you. There was a time that I was known as the ice cream, so there was no checking in being done. And if I'm honest, somebody said to me the other day, and it really resonated with me, they said, I don't know if working in hospitality has actually done you a favor, because my background was hospitality, because we always had to take the emotion out of it and put a face on. So I taught myself for years, but in recent years, I have definitely done some study around psychosomatic therapy and things like that, which has opened up the emotion.
That's
so I get that. But for people who don't know, what's the process for you to check in with yourself and to know that you're feeling the real you?
So my first answer would be join my 12-week emotional mastery program. This is no quick fix. However, a few tips would be, of course, it comes with practice and discipline. So it might sound very simple, and you think, people would roll their eyes and say, what's the big deal? But it is. It really is breath. Coming back to your breath, being present, scanning into your body with controlled breath movements, identifying an emotion that comes up, and going through a process to recognize and to shift stories behind it, past unhealed emotions. So initially it seems like a lot, but it isn't. In 12 weeks, we take people from chaos, inner chaos, which they think is coming from the external world, is really their inner chaos, which is reflecting back to them, to a point of calm, which is where we all want to be. And we can really enjoy life from that on a whole new level. And that is true freedom. Freedom from your own internal stuff.
Yeah, so absolutely. And with that calmness comes like natural boundaries. is what I found. You get
Yeah,
natural, because you kind of go, oh, I have so much time, I have to do this. And when you sit in that breath, you're so right, and you check in with yourself. And sometimes it can be only for 5 minutes. You don't have to spend hours to do it.
that's right.
That you actually go, no, I'm not doing that. And yes, I am doing that. That's what I found. It's like this calmness comes over you and goes, no, just no. We
Yeah,
don't know
there's
what
no
to.
need to be worried about setting boundaries. There's really no need to be worrying about offending anybody or not being true to yourself. You can't when you are here. It's
Yeah,
like the easiest answer to all of life's problems.
I
You
know.
can't find yourself in relationships that mess you around. You just couldn't.
No.
So
It's
it
like
is key.
I often say, if you were to cut me open right now, you would find blood, guts, organs, or whatever, but you'll never find Carmel, the same as with yourself. So it
Mm,
has to be then something that's not tangible that you can hold on to. And if that is you, and if what we say is all kind of made up anyway, we make it mean whatever we want, well, then can I make it mean something that's going to actually sustain and support me? And the
that's
answer is yes.
right. The answer is yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
spot on. Well
Amazing.
done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So going from that, so that's a nice segue into, so particularly with kids. So you work a lot with that emotional connection with kids as a parent with kids. And look, I was a single mom for many years of 3 children. Unfortunately, I didn't have the insight and knowledge that I have now.
Today.
So
Yeah,
I did the best I could, but my
absolutely.
best I could was to work 50, 60 hours a week to keep a roof over their head, which sometimes meant I didn't spend as much time with them as I wanted. But
Mm,
that said, I have 3 beautiful, well, they're adults now, would you believe?
yeah.
Francesca, my eldest daughter is the same age as Francesca. But anyway, it's like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh,
My
that's brilliant.
I
Yeah.
know my youngest son was 30 a couple of months ago, so that'll give you the age range. But the thing is, they are emotionally, adults. They're emotionally balanced adults. I mean, do they have their problems? One might have a problem, somebody else has, but who doesn't as an adult at some stage? So I'm very proud of my children, but like you, I don't regret anything I've done. That said, I'd love to have had that knowledge earlier so that I could have done things in a different way. But I do realize the journey is a journey and we've all ended up.
That's
So
right. It's
how,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, so particularly with not just single parents, because obviously it can be both. What's the importance of being able to emotionally connect with your child?
Hmm. So emotional connection is key because our kids are 100% emotion, especially when they are younger.
Yeah,
They are connected to us emotionally than the words we speak or what we ask them to do, the boundaries that we set. They are connected to us 100% emotionally. So
yeah,
to be able to connect you to your child, emotionally connecting to them is key.
yeah,
And how this plays out is as they get older, especially when they start to become so-called challenging, when they push back on your requests for them, or they put out a tantrum when
yeah.
they don't
Isn't
want
that,
to
what
abide.
is it? The terrible twos and the troublesome trees and things like that. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's when us being the parent to be able to do the best they can and to be the best parent that they can. The key is to be um, emotionally clear, energetically clear, not having to respond from an emotional reaction gives us the best result. And that's why to best connect with your child emotionally, it's important that we check in to where we are with our emotions. If parents find themselves reacting with anger, feeling frustrated, getting disappointed, all of this comes from an unmanaged emotional state, and it
yeah,
comes back from not being connected emotionally within yourself. What we have is what we give to our kids, and our own emotional disconnection is what we pass on to our kids, which then triggers our own kids' emotions, and the cycle continues. It's a vicious cycle. So the key is that emotional connection within ourselves. And that's why it's so valuable to raise kids from that emotional connection,
Yeah.
because you have given them the best gift ever.
Oh, 100%, because again, in hindsight, I know through my own children as adults that when challenges have come up, and now in latter years, so that comes up, I'm aware that that is directly a mirror to me.
Yes.
Because of, you know, whatever. And it's a mirror also to, I don't know if you've come across a modality called voice dialogue, which talks about all the different cells. And some of it is when you're triggered by, whether it's your child or somebody else, it's quite often a part of yourself that you have disowned because, you know, that victim, I don't want to be the victim. So anytime you'd hear a victim kind of statement, you'd be going, oh my God, and your judgment and everything comes out. It's actually something that's unresolved in you. So
Right.
I have found as years have gone on that my children have been a direct mirror to what I actually needed to learn.
That's brilliant. It takes a lot of parents' time to own that. There's a lot of resistance that comes up within us.
If you had
But
it told me
what?
10 years ago, I was like, what?
Our kids are going to freaking challenge us till we get it, because there's no way out of it until we have taken ownership.
And I think that that's the thing, is recognizing like that your kids are almost put here to challenge you, to help you grow. That's our
all
thing,
relationships.
is to grow. Yeah.
Our closest relationships are meant to challenge us. If we accepted that, we'd be, our whole perspective around it would change. We wouldn't be here victims.
Yeah, there's no perfect relationship. So tell me some of the ways, other than obviously helping people become emotionally connected to themselves. Tell me some more about the emotional connection with children. Like, how do you become an empowered parent other than just connecting with yourself?
Yeah. So you become an empowered parent by looking for the cues of what your child is reflecting back in you.
Right.
I love giving the example of the child in the supermarket on the floor throwing a tantrum, and there being three months. Same child, 3 months. The first mom is going, has my child eaten? What time did they get up? They're not keeping too well. Let me finish this shopping and sort my child out. That's mom number one. Mom number two is going, how embarrassing. Look at the people around here. What might they be saying? That's my friend Sue from church. She must be judging me, thinking I'm such a bad parent. Guilt shows up. Same child, different perspectives from moms. So it's the same child playing out the same behavior.
Yeah.
The third mom looks at that and says, oh my God, how cute is that child? Kicking its legs out, even if it's so angry, and even with it being so putting out a tantrum, I still absolutely freaking adore it. It's the cutest thing that's come out of me, even in its freaking angry state. And can you see how the reaction then is different to the child? The child's experience is different based on the perspective. And this has come from the, so it's really going to show us that the way we respond is us. It's not from your child. And that's empowered parenting. Taking what your child is showing up for you. Is anger coming up? Is frustration a dominant emotion? Your child is triggering it in you, but it is in you. The dynamite is inside you. Your child is just showing you where the active bits are, where the
they're just lighting it up to see if they can light a little trigger, and
here it is.
Yeah, they burns into the dynamite or not if you allow it. Yeah.
So be grateful to that guy, to that child who's showing you parts of you.
Yeah, and it just reminds me, I've often seen parents with the kids, they go shopping like that, but they run around in circles. And the parents go, oh, they stop running around. Can you stay quiet? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and I've seen it happen to people that I know quite well. And they're going, I just want to get the shopping. Now, I went into the shop with the same kids and I gave them a list. I said, right, we have a competition. And then I would give them clues, as in we were to get a vegetable and it looked a little bit by a tree, like a tree. So they had to guess what the vegetable was first and then see who could get it, broccoli.
There you go. They've got all this
Changed
energy.
it
They want to play.
completely. Yeah, changed it
Well
completely.
done.
We had this big competition and it was just hysterical. I was laughing at myself. I was like, oh, took a while to do
And you
that.
made
But
the
it
whole
is
experience
reframing.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also getting clued in. What are your child's needs? What are their core needs? What is their love language? How do they like to connect? What is their dominant personality? Each child has different. I say parents, as their kids get older, they need to put on their EA hats, their emotional analyst hat. You
Right.
can't just be an authoritarian parent. You need to be an emotionally clued in parent.
Yes.
That's key.
Yeah, absolutely. And because when you talk about the different levels of brain, for example, so we talk about the reptilian brain, which is your fight or flight. It's yes or no. There's no kind of maybe. It's like it's danger, survival. But the second brain then was the emotional brain. So that's how we make decisions. That's why we buy from people who we know, like, and trust, or we buy from people who have recommended other people, things like that, because we buy from that emotional place. And it's the same with any relationship, because buying is another relationship. We need to know that we can trust that person. And for children, I would imagine, they need to know above all that they're safe. That no matter what they throw at this parent, which is their job to throw some things at the parent,
right.
That no matter what, that they are safe.
That they are safe and that they trust, and they have and that their parent has trust in themselves and confidence in themselves.
Yeah, I think that's actually key now that you've hit it. When a parent is going through emotional turmoil that they can't check into themselves emotionally for whatever reason, whether it's due to ill health or whatever, or just not being aware, that can be the bigger problem than the actual children misbehaving.
Absolutely. It is always the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
And we can change behaviors of our kids by changing our own behavior pattern. Yeah. That's the quickest, sure shot way of changing a child's behavior.
And it's so funny you say that, because that's the way of changing any behavior. Is, I mean, who was it that said, be the change you want to see in the world? Like, it's the same, whether it's business or whether it's whatever. And, the actual, any kind of relationships you have to be, you can't make the other person. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So you can't make the other person change, whether it's a child or an adult. You have to change you, and you have to behave it into existence. You have to do it as if it's already there. I'm not talking about when people say, I want to be a millionaire, and they go and spend millions to behave it, but behave as if that is one of your top values. So you have two daughters yourself. I know that one of your daughters in particular helps you in your business now. Isn't that true?
They both do.
Oh,
they're both very actively involved in my business. Yeah. My 21-year-old as well as my soon to be 16-year-old. They run events individually along with new staff that we've just hired. So they're amazing. They are confident women who know, who have confidence and trust in themselves, Carmel.
Yeah, and that's a reflection of the work you've done to
the work
empower them, to give that to them.
That's right. Yeah. So that's awesome. What really is what the angle from which I wrote my book was empowering moms to empower their kids. So it's about the moms, parents empowering themselves. We often want to give to our kids and we want to empower them. We want to motivate them. It's not them, it's here. Put the focus back. But we've been trained by society and culture so much that give to your kids, give. We've emptied ourselves and we've given to them from empty, drained out spaces, which has done more damage than good.
Look, I'm just laughing. I'm running a series, I'm hosting a series of webinars at the moment, and it's about money, but it's not just about money for money's sake. It's about money as an exchange of energy. So this guy is a multi-millionaire, which obviously has rungs on the board for the money, but he talks about it a lot more in the psychology of. And he mentioned the other day, and I've heard this mentioned before, we are we are educated to put everything else before us, except for in one area, and that's on an airplane. Because if the oxygen mask comes down, put yours on first. That's the only place you're actually told to look after you. But it's what we need to do more of, to actually reflect back and help the other people be all they can be.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So your book was called Abundant Motherhood.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes,
empowering moms to empower their kids. That's right.
Yeah. So that was amazing. And your two daughters are working with you. So with your business right now, how is business going from you, even in, say, the last 2 years? How has that exploded for you?
Yeah, it's been freaking amazing because, like you, I have been on a program, like you said rightly, that we are here to be led. So I tried to do it on my own for a while, and then I realized, nah, we're not here to do this on our own.
No.
And hiring a mentor is definitely key. It doesn't just supercharge the process, but it is definitely vital, because that's how we've been created. And we can deny it for as long as we want to, but to our own detriment. So I say accept it, hire a mentor, and move forward. Yeah,
absolutely. And the thing is, we don't know what we don't know. So if you've never been, say, a multi-millionaire business owner doing blah, 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 well, okay, I can look up at the sky and go, yeah, I kind of see the things, but we don't know. We haven't been there. There's a lot of history shows that a lot of people that went from normal wealth to sudden wealth, they may have won the lotto or things like that. They find a way to actually spend the money. It's proven.
Come back to where they were.
Yeah. One guy even said after winning, I forget how many millions of the lotto, he said, I wish I'd torn up the ticket. Even if you look at the likes of Michael Jackson, like, look at the amount of money he had, but then he had Neverland and he had everything else like that. So he actually ended up, by the time he passed away, he had virtually nothing, because it was all gone in the upkeep of everything.
We'll always match where our energy is at.
Yeah,
so same with our relationships, the quality of our relationships, the money that we attract. The only work we ever do is within ourselves.
Yeah, we have to, it's like having a car, and the car, and look, I have a really old banger of a car, but it actually is fun. But a car that really gets to a stage it's not working anymore, you have to upgrade the car. You just have to. And I think we forget to do that with ourselves, and to change our oil and fuel and filters, especially our filters.
We can be worried about what the money that it costs, not recognizing that that's only energy as well. And the more you invest, sow your seed before is important before you can see the results.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before
thank you for sharing that. Really important to have a mentor and or a coach. Sometimes you need more of a coach than a mentor, and vice versa.
Both.
So sometimes the person can be both, or sometimes you can have two separate. Absolutely. So tell me, if somebody wanted to contact you or get in contact with you and access your services, your courses, or get to know you a little bit better, what's the best way for them to communicate with you?
So my group is called Empowered Parents Group on Facebook. I'm very active on there. Lots of events, lots of free events. Every Thursday we do a live parenting Q&A. Every fortnight on a Friday, we've got a parenting masterclass, all for free. I run a parenting workshop every month, a 90-minute parenting workshop. So there's a lot of empowered parenting coaching that happens within the group. So most certainly, if you're on Facebook, it's Empowered Parenting. If you're on Instagram, we are called Empowered Coaching. For our website, it's empoweredcoaching.com.au. And we're also on LinkedIn, Yolanda Alvares, your Empowered Parenting.
Awesome, cool. Yolanda, it's been amazing getting back in contact with you, and thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom with us. Unfortunately, it's not long enough to get all of your wisdom. We could talk for ages, but tell me if there was anything. There's two more questions. So number one is, if there was any last tip you'd like to share, what would that be?
that would be is become aware of your energetic presence.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
last
Often
question is,
because we can't see it and feel it, and we
Yeah.
can feel it, but we're not tuned into it. It can be put aside, but that is key. That
Yeah.
is key to
I
living
love that.
freedom
Yeah.
and living your best life. Yeah.
And I won't ask you this, but I have a funny feeling I know the answer to this from yourself,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you anyway.
I'm going to
If
ask
you-
you to answer it before me then.
No. If you were doing what you're doing right now, what would you be doing instead?
On a beach in Hawaii, sipping on pina coladas and margaritas.
Well, we could do that, except for, that thing that's around the stopless bloody travel. Yeah, so if you were doing this, that's what you'd like to be doing, is just.
That's what I'd like to be doing.
Brilliant.
Just, really being in tune, being in my joy, being present, writing my next book, Emotional Mastery for Parents. Yeah, that's what I'd like to be doing.
Awesome.
Cool. And I will be
You
doing
see?
that. I will be.
And I didn't, that wasn't the answer I thought it was going to be. So there you go.
What did you think it was going to be?
I thought you were going to say, I don't want to do anything else. I love what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you challenged me there.
That's okay. Yolanda, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. And
Thank
I
you
look
for
forward to
having
seeing
me.
you soon.
Pleasure.
My pleasure. Bye.
Thank you.